Hello, happy beaders. Happy Saturday. Happy pre-Valentine's Day. We changed our mantle. Oh, surprise, surprise. How are you today? Are you having a great Saturday? I hope you are. Did you have a good weekend? Let's see who's popping on. Oh, I see a few people popping on. Hello, hello. Welcome. When you pop on, say hello. Are you ready for some? Hi Gail. Hi Eugenia. Hi Deborah. Hi Stacy. Hello, hello. So I'm excited I'm excited and I'm happy and I'm going to try to be also zen-y calm in a way. But one of my excitements is I have a guest with me. Y'all know Sandra from the comments. She's one of my besties from childhood, and she is definitely one of the people that got me started in the obsession of beading years and years and years ago. And I'm so excited that we get to bead today and do some mindful beading. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Julie. Hi, Luann. Great to see you. Thanks for joining today.
Hi, Gail.
I know, it's so great. I'm so excited to have her on with me. She's going to be beading and making her own piece today, her own knotted mala inspired necklace with her own special meanings, and we'll hopefully, once we get done. Now, this is definitely one of those projects where it's going to take a little longer. We are not going to be completing this. I do have one for sure finished to show how to finish it all the way, and then I have a couple to show my process of how I started this. Hello, Alina, welcome. Oh, good. That's important. Our physical and mental health is so important to take care of and try to improve. Yeah. Hi, Joy. It's so great. Isn't it fun to see the people on there?
I know it is. It's like, people I met through you guys here in the Just Beat It world who feel like friends of mine, and I really know you guys so, just like this, and it's amazing. This group is amazing.
I know. I'm really happy with it. I am so pleased. It is definitely what gets me through things, especially the last few years. I'm just so surprised. I really enjoyed our brick and mortar, and I loved our in-person classes, and it was great. And there was always flux of people, and there's flux of people on here too, because you can't make every live. But I don't know, I feel even more connected because I think everybody's coming from all over, and it's neat to be connected to people that are far.
Mm-hmm.
I feel more connected to you now.
I know.
Because she moved far away.
Didn't do it on purpose.
I know. You got to do what you got to do. But and for a while there, we were able to get together, periodically, and then life happens. It makes it hard. So it's been so amazing to be able to connect with you again.
I feel like I get to see you every week this way.
I know.
And it's amazing.
I know. Even though we don't get to see, and we finally get to see physically together. Anyway, so let's go and talk about these beautiful things. You're gonna move over there to her. Yeah. She's gonna get into her little.
My cocoon over here.
Yeah, she's going to get all cozy on the couch to bead while I'm beading. So part of, hi, Rosalinda. Rosalinda says hello. Hi, Rosalinda. It is part of some of our inspiration for these revisits is I was going through prepping all our videos. Still a slow process. I am not that technically savvy, so it is a slow process for me to move them over to our YouTube, and I'm making progress slowly but surely. But in that, I'm revisiting all these things. I'm like, oh, this is so good. And then I had this idea. And even Sandra's made a couple where she's knotted the malas instead of stringing the malas. When we did our original, our Lotus, that's what we did this in January of 2021. I have it on. When we did this originally, we did this one on soft flex and we crimped it, and it's a great way to do it. But sometimes that knotting technique is a very soothing and very mindful. It really makes you present, and something that's one of my loves of beading is that you can get lost in making something and kind of let the stresses of the world and of other things kind of back, and then you're able to be kind of almost renewed in order to accomplish everything you have to do in your life. So that's always been something, my connection to beading and my love to beading is mostly from that. So, you know, and it's really fun to put things in that are wonderful symbolisms too, to help you remind, like when you wear it, you can be reminded of different stuff. So we did do the lotus chakramala, but I wanted to knot it, and I wanted to show how to knot it like our treasure of the sea. Now, treasures of the sea we did in 2020, and I forgot what month it was, but it was in 2020, and it was one continuous knotted necklace. So this technique shows you how to, or this project showed us how to connect one continuous so that there's no clasp. So I wanted to make a knotted one without a clasp for our mala. I wanted to combine these two together and thought it would be really fun to do. So those are the two that I'm referencing. You can find, I did post these as JPEG form in our on our Facebook page, on the event page, and in our Just Beaded Happy Beaders group in a post. But you can also find the PDF form in the files of our Happy Beaders group. If you are not part of Just Beaded Happy Beaders group, you should ask a request to join. I'm going to put that lovely little link in the comments right now. Boom, boom. I got to make sure I hit all the buttons. And we will click you on after the live. We'll click you on so you can go over there and find the PDF. Because I do find, as much as I love my JPEG forms that I have, because I'll have it in an album on my device, it's great reference. But if I want a paper one, they're harder to print. So I do think the PDF is really nice to have for that reason. That being said, I'm going to flip the camera downward so you can see all the funny things that I'm working on. I have a lot going on here. I was hoping to have a little bit more prepared to show different stages. So you may be finding some pictures of, because I'm still want to do all the things that I pulled. I have four of these that I couldn't decide. In fact, I have a fifth one too that started this mess in my head. I don't know if it was, it was a happy mess. Part of the reason why I have so many is that everything has different symbolisms that you know, reside in me. And then some of the stuff is just the colors or the beads are talking to me. And then it was really hard for me to go, which one do I do? So I didn't get as much prepped. So I think over this course, I have time set aside to do a little bit more beading this week than I got to do last week. And so I'm hoping that I'll do some like picture albums of the process so you can see if you're curious of how those went. But you know, I do have a lot of like fun things to play with, as you know, because I love sharing all the weird things that I bring up. So I am going to flip this around. So for the most part, before we go with, did you grab your, yeah. Most of the tools really that I'm using, I don't know what happened to my scissors. Okay, there's some, there they are. Okay, so I have, for the most part, I'm either using a pair of knotting tweezers, really fine tip tweezers, or I'm using an awl and scissors. Those are the main tools that I'm using. There's a couple other little things like you may want to glue on your knots at the very end. I don't usually use it, but you can. One of my one of the products that I'm going to use, I like to use freight check on, and I'll show that. And then if you are building like one of mine, this one right here, I'm going to build after the class today a little link with wire. So I'm going to need my round nose and chain nose pliers and my wire cutter so that I can attach my tassel to this. So let's flip this around and try not to cover the, no, come on. First one go there. And like, which one was it that I do? If I do the wrong one, the whole thing comes apart. Okay, it doesn't come all the way apart, but it makes it harder for me to balance. There we go. Boom, boom. There we go. And I just gotta jump. Oh, hearts galore. I was gonna have this on my tray. I didn't put it on my tray. You know, all the shit coulda wouldas. That's okay. We're gonna have move those over now. That's fun. Happy Valentine's, right? I love Valentine's. My mom was so fantastic as I grew up. Valentine's was all about sharing love with friends and family. And so it is a meaningful one for me for that reason. Yes, you do it. You know, I'm a full believer that you got to show love all year round. But it's nice when you can go that extra mile to those people that are really important in your life. Those really close friends and those family and those friends that are like family, like Sandra. Sandra's like my sister from another mother. Her mom is my mama Ann, and Christine's her sister. And if you've been to our shop, you've met Christine, and she is like my little sister too. So it's so awesome because I love my sister April, and it's fantastic but it's so fun to have extra sisters.
Yes. Sister
Extra power. Yep. So I have this one. This one is going to be, this is my almost done one, to kind of give you an idea of how to end it with try to make this all without a clasp. How are we going to hook these together? I am going to use this one for that. For this particular one, so a mallet, if you are trying to be a little bit more correct with mallets, you do want to make sure you have 108 beads. That's usually not counting the little spacer beads or the marker beads. Thank you. Isn't this really kind of fun? This was a gift from somebody, so I'm like loving it. I have like a few. I have no idea. She found them somewhere. Thought we could use them, right? So in this instructions, I actually on the last page has some really cool information about like the 108 beads. It is a very sacred number of beads for people that use it in prayer and meditation in different religions. There's actually several religions that use it. Now, if you are not one of those, you can use your own, make it connected to you, make yours to represent what your beliefs are. It might be a different number, and that is okay. So I'm going to be using the 108. I'm also going to be a guru bead. The guru bead represents the student and guru relationship, the student teacher relationship, and it's like the beginning and the end. It represents the beginning of your meditation or prayer until the end. That's typically a bead that actually has the T-hole. It has the hole going this way, but then also across. Those are hard to get now. And so we are using a tiara cast one okay, I had it here. I moved it. Yeah, my guru. Oh yeah, I have, oh, here it is. So I'm using a tier cast one, and in the tier cast ones, they have just one hole across. It actually looks like a bail, and you can use a regular bail also, and has a loop on the bottom, and that's what I'm going to use for my guru bead. You can also use different things for guru beads, and I'm going to show you another sample of that in a little bit. Hi, Shira. These here, I have two types. So this is a man-made fire agate. These are right here are fire in the round, and in the faceted are fire agate also. They call it fire opal agate, I believe. And then these little round ones right here are apple jasper. I found a nice little stash in them and of them, so we are going to take some pictures and pop those up. So I thought I had them, I pulled them because I wanted to use them. But I was like, oh, if I use them and I do have extra, we can probably pop those on there. My fire agate is the part of the fire agate that I am using, the properties is creativity, and it creates stability. Creates stability and strength. The apple jasper is for nurturing and peaceful feelings. So I want to, while I was beading this, I was thinking of, creating stability and strength in my life, but also trying to nurture calm, peaceful feelings, because sometimes trying to get that stability is stressful. So I was like aiming for trying to get it peacefully and nurturing. I'm using a yellow cord on this one. I use this yellow silk cord to do the knots in between that you can kind of see peeking in between there, as a symbolism of happiness and warmth to go with my stability and my peaceful thinking. And I have, or feelings. And then I have my tassel. And then the tassel represents all the strands combined, connecting are the divine and to each other. And it has a, it's a very beautiful meaning. And again, you can find this on our Lotus Chakra Mala necklace. We also have some stones listed that we used for our chakra part and their symbolisms that you can kind of reference. So you can go there for that. And so that's what this one is. And I just realized that's why I couldn't find it, because it was already on there. So there's two ways to do malas for me. I either sometimes start, like when we did this mala that I'm wearing, our chakra mala, and we are crimping this one. This is one continuous. My whole thing at table is, I feel, is a mess, and you're not going to be able to see anything. So let's see if I get another thing now. There you go. So when I made this one, we actually started here at the guru bead, kind of like your meditation or your prayer. And as I went from the guru and started and went all the way around. And then that way we were able to hide the crimp inside the guru bead. So you can do the knotting the same way. You can do the knotting where you start from there, go all the way around and come back to the guru bead and knot it at the guru bead. Some people actually knot their tassel because it believes going from the guru bead to the tassel, knotting it directly to the tassels to make the connection. I find that I love the links, and I believe that connects us also. So for me, that I'm okay with doing the knotting here. With that being said, I am showing you on this one how to do it the other way, where I have all the knotting up at the top here. And part of the reason is, depending on what your beads are, when you knot, if I knotted just hiding the knot into the guru down here, It's just one knot, and I'd have to use some glue, and that's okay. I'm not against glue, but that's what's holding it in the silk. And when I'm doing the connection this way, then when I'm connecting it in the back, I'm actually using 3 knots to hold it. So I kind of like that little bit. Hello, Yolanda. I know that it's the sparkle, part of the sparkle is that these are faceted, but it's also the inclusions, and the agates just come up with a nice shine. So that's another lovely part of those beads. So that's one. So I'm going to come back to this. So this one, when I went to go start it up, I'm going to go back to it afterwards, after I explained. I figured out my design. I made sure I had my count, and I started up at the top. When you're doing a continuous, the first 4 you do not knot in between. You let them be loose and you give some space. And then I beaded and knotted all the way around, made sure at the center that I added my guru bead so that it'd be easy to put on here, and then around, and later I'm going to show you how to connect it. With this other one that I'm going to be working on, I'm going to start at the guru bead. Now this, and for that connection, that's where the Treasure of the Sea comes in. So I have this Treasure of the Sea necklace that I did, one continuous thing. So if you're interested on doing the continuous necklace idea with knotting, this is a really good reference. You could use your own pattern. You can substitute a lot of beads. It's really great. I did find a few kits and a few colors that while we were doing inventory, so I think I'm going to pop those on too. We only have a handful. There's not that many, but they're still really pretty and fun. We have this greener one here, this more pinky one here, and this peachier coral here. So we have those 3 colorways left, and they're really pretty. That will give you how to start, and basically how to start is you do need to put a little knot, like might have a little knot. You add your beads, but when you first start knotting, again, you want to not put these first 4 beads, you will not knot in between. You're going to save that for the end, and so they're always going to be kind of hanging loose as you add more beads down, knotting. Great, Cheryl. Yes, today is Inspiration Day. It's all about input, thought, and inspiration into your pieces. And I was trying to figure out how to really coordinate this, and I might have put too much thought to where I didn't know what to do. So hopefully this is helping, putting some help clarify it and start somewhere. So even I get a little overwhelmed with where to start. So my main where to start though is pulling these 2 patterns out so that I had like reference on how either to start it or to end it, and other things, other parts of those. What do you need, like the mala? If you wanted a mala, what do you need for the mala? So my other one here, this tray has a whole bunch of stuff on it. I am using silk on this one again. I really like to use the silk because it has enough to usually do a mala. And then also it has a needle on one end, so you could go through the beads and the guru beads, and you could go through, things easier because it already has a needle on it. Oh, yay, Sharon, so great. I'm so glad. Oh, one other thing about starting this other style I just forgot to mention. Those 4 beads, make sure these 4 beads that you are not knotting in between, double check that they have large enough holes for your, so choose the beads, like you might have a strand, just go through and make sure that your needle and your cord will go through it one more time, because you're going to be needing to go through it. If the hole is too small, and if your beads, just in general, you can't get something that goes through twice, like those, see how I was able to get through those twice? If these beads can't do that, find a different bead just to be those 4 beads, and that's okay. I've put metal beads there before, just because metal beads tend to have a larger hole. I've put glass beads instead of stone beads for it. But whatever those 4, and you can put more than 4, you don't have to just have these 4, but just make sure those 4 have the large holes, and then you can match up some of those beads maybe further down in the neck, so then you can like start from here and have like a whole section so it doesn't look out of place. But you definitely have to have these beads, the cord needs to go through twice. So with this one, I am using the silk again. It's perfect for these picture jasper. For the picture, I chose the picture jasper. It is a grounding stone. It is connection to earth, and it's used for comfort. I thought all of those things I could use right now. My butterfly is my symbolizing change and transformation, because so much has changed and is transforming. So I'm hoping that this will help me focus on the positive end. You know, a beautiful butterfly is a great way to reflect that change is okay and transformation is important and good for you. And then I have this carved bone rose, and I'm using that because I feel like the bone is okay. I guess it's more cream, it's more beige or brown. I don't know. I kind of feel like it's kind of on the yellow side. Maybe it's not bright yellow, but it kind of has like a new beginning and joy. Friendship is a lot of times yellow roses, but joy and new beginnings is also, which I thought really went really well with my change and transformation. Plus, I thought they looked beautiful together. And then I'm using the blue in my tassel. I'm going to make a ribbon tassel just like the one that I did in here with this silk ribbon. And so the blues in this and the blues and the blue silk cord that I'm going to be knotting, I'm using for imagination and inspiration to help me change and transform for my joy and my new beginnings. So those are my symbolisms for this. I have my guru bead, and with making this silk cord, for this tassel, I'm going to use a tiara cast Marrakesh ribbon and cord, and I don't know exactly what they call it. I could be going, it's a crimp end. They call it a crimp end, a Marrakesh crimp end. And I'm gonna take this, sew it together with some needle and thread. So that is, if you have some kind of project like this, that is the extra little thing you might need, is some thread and a needle in order to sew this together. You can actually use just a sewing needle, but I of course have my beading needles here. And I'm going to make a tassel with it because I just love the way the silk cord tassels look, and that Marrakesh crimp end on it is really pretty. Can I knot them all? Oh, you can put those larger beads anywhere. It just means that you have to start, and it's just as long as the hole is large enough for it to go.
I think my rainbow ones have a bigger hole. Like, I think they have a bigger hole on them than my
Oh, and you're yeah, because you're gonna use that thicker cord.
Or you're gonna use the white cord, that thinner.
Oh, you're gonna be fine with any of those.
Knotted?
So she has these beautiful gemstones that are the chakra gemstones that have larger holes, but she's also using some of the white howlite, and they have smaller holes. So even though I think you probably could use that cord with that you could just do it right there. So she's going to have this on kind of like on our so
thank you.
Yeah, she's going to kind of do sections just like on here with the chakra part in between the howlite. And so she was asking if she could do the connection here instead of the back or the bottom or the back. And really you could. If that's the placement where your holes are bigger, you might as well put that. So it just means that, like, if I was doing here on, I would start, you know, the beginning of the chakra and then go around and around and come back here. And when I go, but those first 4 beads, I would not knot until it's time to connect it. So yes, you can do that.
Yay!
That was awesome. Thank you, Rosalinda. So with this one, ooh, losing beads, but that's okay. They're only on the ground. And then I have my other one that I was kind of looking at, because one of the inspirations of this was that I did this glass. Some of you have gotten some of these collections already. We did the Mindful collection. That was actually kind of, you know, they're glass, check glass, so you don't have like the symbolisms that you would get with stone, but you can get those symbolisms with color and light going through those glass beads. So this was the Celestial Mindful bead collection, and I have mine here, and so I am going to make one with this. And this one's going to be a little special because I teased when we did the dangly fringe. I said I was going to do it, and then I didn't end up making one because I couldn't decide on color. I couldn't decide if I was doing the Celestial, the Tranquility, or the Strength. And finally I just like, Joyce, just do the Celestial because you love purple and you love that meaning of the connection to you know, your imagination and your spirit. So you might as well just go with it. But I'm going to make a dangly fringe off of our open lotus link. So that is going to be a picture in the future. This is the link that I have in our lotus chakra mala necklace, and I'm going to make the tassel with beads, and I'm going to use these beads for the mala part, the necklace part. And so that one's going to go. But with this one, I'm actually going to be using, instead of silk, I'm going to be using the S-lon cord. Amiet works too. S-lon works too. Those are all, you can use any of those. But it is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to have to connect it slightly different because it doesn't have a needle, and I'll make it a little hard to do the connection like I'm going to show you with my fire agate one. It's going to be a connection that's closer to what I'm going to show you with the picture jasper. But to make it, because it is hard to string with like a needle, you can use a big eye needle, but sometimes it makes it hard going through these beads. I use fray check with it. Oh, thank you, Joanne. I can't wait to share more of how these are once they're put together, because I'm like trying to, sometimes it's hard to portray what my vision for my brain. So I'm hoping you're understanding what I'm saying. I'm hoping you see my vision, and I can't wait to show you how it ends up. So my fray check, which you could get at the at a craft store, usually in the sewing section, it helps fabric not fray, I usually put that at the end of the cord. Now you can use nail polish or you can use glue, anything that dries clear and doesn't clump. I would suggest to wipe extra so that it's not thicker, because you don't want this to become too thick. It won't go through the beads. But I find that this kind of like soaks up a good amount without getting clumpy and getting too thick. Well, that's on the ground now. I'm dropping everything today. And I usually open all the way the bottle, and I just put that tip off, and then I dunk it inside. I try to dunk at least 2 to 3 inches. Let it slide. Take it out. Oh, thank you. You know, you need to come more often, Sandra. It's nice to have an assistant.
There's more beads down here.
Not surprised. Not surprised. And then I just wipe a little of that off and let that dry. Sometimes I will put a second coat if it's not stiff enough. It doesn't stiffen as hard as, say, the nail polish or the glue, but it does stiffen it enough that I should be able to go through the beads without a problem. So I'm going to let that dry on the side, and I'll demonstrate how that works while later with the beads, but I'm going to let that dry. It only takes a few minutes, but I might as well start on this one, right? Part of it is I'm not sitting like I normally do. It would help if I sit in my chair normal so that I'm not. There we go. Okay, so first things first for this one. So this one I am going to put together from the Guru, and I'm going to go all the way around and then back and then connect it in the Guru bead. Wait, is this the one I was not going to do a Guru bead? I was going to go through the bead. Well, I think I am going to go. I'm going to use the Guru because I really like that idea. The other choice is I could actually use these as my Gurus. So you don't need this extra piece. Like I didn't need the lotus in our lotus. Like it just adds extra loveliness, you know. The big fire agate piece in that fire agate one is not like a piece that you need to make a mala inspired piece, but it does add to it, and you can use it either for the symbolism, or you can add to it just for the, you know, the aesthetics of it, and that's okay. Well, I believe it's okay, because I believe that if we make it so that we like it, we wear it and we look at it and we hold it and we do those things more often, so it's easier for us to remember to take a breath or think positively or try to ground yourself and those types of things. So very true, Sandra. That is so true. Sometimes I don't even wear it. Like I typically have this one with me. I don't wear it very often, but I typically have it near me a lot because I love looking at it. I love holding it. I love thinking, you know, really enjoying the beads on there and thinking about the different representation. Sometimes it's just a matter of holding them gives us that peace. I mean, that's what a lot of prayer beads and meditation beads are used for, is that to make that connection, that physical connection to our spirit and mind. So no, I am not going to use this Guru bead. I was thinking I was going to use this Guru bead, but I'm going to put the Guru bead back. I'm going to use these two as a Guru bead because I think that would be great to show how to do that. I don't have a finished one that is done that way. I have all my beads here. I had a count. I had them laid out, and then I moved my tray, and they went crazy. So we're going to go through the process right now, right? You can see I have my tassel. I'm going to do my tassel later. I have my silk cord that I proceeded to tie knots that I don't need in. When I use silk cord, I like to take it all the way off, but I usually take it all the way off and then use it right away, not all the way off and then move it from table to table. In that process, it's really easy to get it knotted in ways you don't want it to knot. All right, so you can pre-stretch silk if you'd like to pre-stretch silk. You can get it wet and kind of let it hang. I'm usually not, even though this is about patience and being mindful, that part is really hard for me to be patient with. So I like to just kind of pull at it. I just kind of like bounce and kind of pull it, move down, do it again. Part of it is that twist that's in the silk cord is so tight and wound from the factory that the fibers need to relax a little bit. So this kind of helps get that going. And you'll feel that it kind of semi stretches. Now, if they were really heavy beads, maybe I would definitely pre-stretch it a little bit more by using the water. In fact, if you do this process while it's wet, sometimes you can get it to stretch a little bit more. There's this cross between overstretching it in the sense that if you do, I feel if you do too much, sometimes it kind of puts stress on those fibers and it makes them wear down faster. So I kind of do this in between thing instead of like not doing it or fully do it. Going back, I have a pseudo knot down here that is not big enough. I thought it would be, which is part of my delay in things. And so I was going to grab a bead stopper. Ooh, I do have one in here. I thought I had one in here, but then I forgot to check before we started. But of course it's on the way bottom. There we go. Oh, I didn't show me the other one. I also couldn't decide if I should use this. This was a Christmas present from my sister. All these beautiful drops and pearls in all one strand that came like this. I need to add something else to get to that 108, but then I couldn't decide on what tassel and what guru bead and all of that, so that's on the back burner. So you may see me see this soon though, because I'm excited to do it. You know, it's fun to use those beads that you get as gifts. And so that's another way to do some mindful beading, have something meaningful. Maybe you're not looking at the energy properties that I talked about, but you know, sometimes just the thought of making something with those gifts that you were given is another way to just kind of mindful bead together. I'm going to put the Marrakesh to the side because we're not going to use that. So since I'm using this as a guru, these two together as a guru bead, I am going to go up this bead, both of these beads. And then I'm going to get my design here. So that's how I'm going to start. And then I'm going to make my way around and go all the way around the whole thing and then come back here to start connecting it through these as my guru bead and connect to the tassel. So I am now going to pull out. So these picture jasper, they come so in like, you know, like this whole strand. It's so very like little scenes, and it's kind of choosing. I don't think I'm going to use all 7 because that's a lot. These are big beads. You got to think about, a lot of malas are either done in like a 6mm to make them a little shorter, or an 8mm to make them a little longer, or something in between. I'm kind of using these, but then also going to use some 6mm to kind of counteract that these are longer or bigger beads. So my other one, no, I use 6 on those too. I just went on the 6mm thing, but 8mm is a really great. It kind of goes with like the is what I used. I used 8mm lava for this one, and then those chakra ones are 10mm. I think, Sandra, you have 8mm and 8mm, I think.
Yep. I'm doing 8s today.
8s.
And I keep counting wrong, so I keep recounting.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's the whole thing. I was doing this and I had the count, and then I knocked my tray down, and I was so mad because it took so long to.
I can't get the same number twice.
So I have these. I'm going to put these into. So I feel ya. That was me on this earlier. Okay, which direction do I want? Okay, I think that's how I want them.
Are you going to do that one starting at the...
I'm starting at the Guru, which is my beads. Because I'm going to use my butterfly and my rose together as the Guru. So you could have done that with your buffalo.
Okay.
If you wanted to. But without the actual Guru thing.
Oh.
But you could do it either way. Okay. If you really like that Guru bead and just want the buffalo to be kind of like where the lotus is, or where and if you do that, and I think it's a really pretty look, and so then you probably want to do the connection like in one of your chakras kind of thing,
or in the back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thank you, everyone, for letting me ask questions.
See, if you ask questions, you might be asking a question that they're thinking. So, okay. Thank you, Cheryl. I know, aren't those really pretty? You know, sometimes it's really nice to do inventory because then I find things that we have that I forgot that we had. All right, so now I'm going to pull out my little squares. I decided I also wanted to combine shapes in it. I don't have symbolism in the shapes in this one, but I wanted it in the sense that I don't know, have like an oval represents or a circle represents, but what's kind of speaking to me about it, my part of my choice of using the different shapes is because I want to use this, it's a transformation, and it's like kind of going, but it's also a connecting thing for me, and I'm trying to connect to earth and the comfort and the grounding, and I feel like part of that is also connecting to everything and we're all in different sizes and shapes, and even just as people, but also as species, the dogs and cats and butterflies and trees and and everything. So this is like, because we're not all round circles. So that's kind of that's my weird take of connection. So there you go. So I'm not going to put any knots here yet. I'm going to wait at the very end. And when I go to do that, there is going to be, when I do connect, I am going to make a knot here, and I'm going to make a knot here. I could skip that. If this was one bead, I could just go through the one bead. I'll have the knot up here, but I could just do, or the 2 knots, because I'm going to have 2 sides. And I could do just the connecting knot after the one bead if I wanted to, but because of the way this is, I am going to definitely make a knot in there just because I think it looked really pretty with just a tiny little knot there. That's a great question, Karen. And one of the things I forgot to mention is I am not at the very end. I'm leaving about, maybe 5-6 inches there, just so that I have enough to be able to do those knots. So it could go either way, really, but I'm going to put one in there. Yeah, I thought that the other thing with these, I thought it was a very soothing color palette of like sand and sea or sky, that very natural kind of thing. I think this butterfly is Amazonite. And we got bone, which I also thought was a really kind of cool connection. This is from a company that carves from, they do bone and horn, that is using animal byproducts so that it's not, using all of the animal. And so I thought that was a really good kind of thing to use for me. Oh. Hey, Sandra, you know how I said I don't know where the other 5 beads are?
Did you find them?
I found 3 of them, and then I think 2 of them are in there, so I think I have them.
Sweet. I just needed to have it.
Yeah, was missing some beads. Okay, so now I have these. I'm going to put these ones in. I was originally going with 2 of them in between while chatting and not getting this done. Thank you. You guys are all going to be very mindful beading with me.
If you watch the replay.
Yeah, you can definitely fast forward in the replay to get to where you need to end it or start it or whatever. In this moment, you're going real time. Real time. All right, so I also have rounds, and I have these like smooth coins shape. I have more of this, which is going to go more in the around the back, but I am going to sprinkle them in here. I think I'm going to put one. We'll save that one to the back. Okay, I shouldn't be that picky, but I am being that picky. I'm going to put one of those in between each of my little connection, or the squares. And then I got to start doing math because I have more beads than I need, and I want to make sure I don't put too many in, right? And I have enough. And then I'm going to put my rounds. I'm going to put my round on either side. So I have a round, a square, a coin, a square, a round, and I'm going to do that. Actually, I think I'm going to put 3. Put 3 rounds. I need a bigger tray for this. I should have grabbed another mat. Oh, can you hand me one of those mats?
I sure can.
Okay, this is going off the tray because I'm running out of space.
I think I can. I balanced my tray on my leg like an idiot.
Oh.
There we go. I got it.
Thank you. Okay. Let's try this again on here so you don't get it confused.
Your house is very peaceful right now.
That is good. We want to keep that energy going. I'm going to kind of do it this way so that I have a lot more room. A lot of times I like to work this way with it, but there's not that much in the screen or room in the screen to do that. So I'm going to just kind of do it this way. So is this helping you with ideas of what you might want to make? Are you thinking you might want to try to do a mala inspired piece? Are you thinking that you don't have to do the knotting? We're just experimenting with the knotting today. You can always take ideas from the looks of what we're doing, but then just do the crimping, because that is a little bit easier, especially if you haven't really done knotting before. I have we did you can always look at our knotting with glass pearls video and instructions that show how to do that to kind of practice with. But it'd be really cool to see if this inspires anyone. I would love to see.
108 beads, that will be
108 beads, yep. Not counting your guru and your like metal bead spacers, like if you like in here that I have on in between my chakra, those are like marker bead. They consider marker beads so that there's like a space in between, so you can do the different meditation or prayers. And so those don't usually get counted in the 108, but if it makes it kind of long, you can count them.
So like these ones you wouldn't count?
No, you count those. But like if you did metal spacers, I thought you had some, yeah.
I have a few.
Yeah.
I don't
so
think I have enough, but I have a few.
Yeah. So if you kind of use some of those, then you don't count you don't need to count those ones. How about that? You don't need to count those ones, because a lot of times they're considered marker beads.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because you might put different intentions in your special row that you have there close to your neck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then you can because a lot of times meditation or prayers are done, it's more by feel on the beads and less on looking at the beads. So you want something that will distinguish the spacing easier as you feel them. A lot of times you have your eyes closed for that reason.
You all finally made it happen. I have 108.
Yay! I mean, that's the hardest thing. Okay, so I gotta do some counting.
Satisfying.
27 times 2 is math. I could do it. 54. 54. 54. Okay, so that means I need 54 more beads. So I only have this. Oh, I can't even see it because it's like I zoomed in. I only have 54 beads, but this is like my main patterny part. And then, so my 54 beads now will be my remainder beads here that will go on the back of my neck. So I'm going to just count out those beads. I have 2 types. I might switch my case. I was originally thinking that I'm going to put the coins all the way in the back, but I think I'm going to do those first and then put the remainder of the rounds in the back, because it might be a little smoother. I'm dividing them up so I can count, make sure I have 54 to put in the back of my necklace. But I'm also trying to make sure that they're going on either side, so I have even on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to be putting 21 coins on either side, which is 42, which means that I need 12 rounds. So I'm going to put 12 rounds in the center. So I don't know if you followed that well. If you need me to explain that again, I will. But I don't want to bore you with my funny math if you don't want to hear it or if it makes it sound complicated. Really, all you need to do is count out. And you don't have to design it first like I did. You could just find the amount of beads that you want, the 108 in whatever beads you want, and then take that and turn it into your design. I did that. That's what I did with my fire agate that I did. Is okay, I have these beads. I have 108 beads divided in half, and then made a pattern so that I had it even on both sides. This case, I decided to go with design first, and then I'm now trying to substitute beads. Okay, that was 40, yeah. Then 12 beads. So those 12 beads. All right, so I'm going to be using 2 trays to string this up. Now, I personally like to, you could do a knot, add a bead, do a knot, add a bead, do a knot, add a bead, and do that. And that's is a really nice way to kind of meditate while you're beading, in a sense. Try to get into that Zen thing. You can get a really nice pattern. But it does slow down the process a little bit. And I personally don't get as good of a rhythm. I feel like it's too choppy of a rhythm for me. So I like to string my beads on and then start putting the knots. So that's what I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to put all my beads on. Get my 108 beads. And hopefully this won't take too long. I know that, you know, watching somebody string is like watching the water boil. Well, not always, but. So what kind of, has a favorite stone or a favorite symbol that you like to incorporate in your beading because it makes you happy, or it reminds you of your mother, or it makes you think of your connection with your family or your friends, or it makes you think of a vacation maybe, or place that you visited that you really felt in peace? Who has something like that? I mean, color, we do put, symbolism is so important, I think, because I think it can really help you connect with things, and we put our own symbolisms in stuff, and it's really neat, and it's a really, sometimes we don't even know we're doing it, and then when you discover that you're doing it, it's kind of neat to reflect and go, what? Oh, I didn't know this is why I liked blah blah blah. It's because I remember going on, you know, this trip with my grandparents, and so I really love it. Oh, labradorite is a great one, Rosalinda. You know, Karen, that is great too, because with 108 beads, that's my other method, is trying to get all 108 beads on at one time can make it really a lot to balance. So sometimes I'll do it in sections. I may do like just half, or I may do a fourth of it. I just go to a certain point and then start knotting, and then I go and I do another section. It kind of depends on how intricate my pattern that I decided to do. If it's all like the same bead, sometimes I will just do it like do 20 beads and then knot, and then do 20 beads, and then other times I will do like, okay, this design section and then this design section. Oh, I like that. What a beautiful thing to add hearts into your piece in different ways. That is really lovely. Anyone else have like a color they like to use a lot because it has a meaning, or a symbol that they like to use a lot? I have a labradorite. I love labradorite. It makes me so happy when I use it. I love using it because I can sit, just like you, Rosalinda, I love it, because I can sit there and look at the different reflections it just is so nice. And then there's like, in amethyst is always one of my favorites. It always makes me feel peaceful. But I've gotten really connected to the more natural stones recently. It's not like I was against them before. I just never really gravitated to them. I mean, I loved them and I would use them, and I do love browns and golds and oranges and stones like that. But more recently, I've been going I'm like just more gravitated to it, and I love anything. I'm not I don't like stones that are like pure in color. I love things that have inclusions. Lapis, yes, I do, Joyce. That is so lapis, and goes with both silver and gold tones. It is so nice. It is a wonderful, and it's so soothing. It has it's such a lovely blue. It can be so deep sometimes, or the denim, which is nice. Oh, I sure hope you get to go, because that would be lovely to find some local pieces, like some shell or they have some really cool, you know, things made out of different woods that are there too, and a lot of beautiful symbolisms, and that would be wonderful. And then do it into these kind of colorways, and then you'll have like this connection to your grandparents and to going to Hawaii. That is wonderful. I love, love, love that. Pearls, yes, there's something really cool about pearls, isn't there? Pearls are wonderful. Okay, I'm not going to do all 108. I'm going to cheat on this one. And I'm going to start it like I'm doing a whole thing, but you get the picture. I have my pattern here, so I'll be able to duplicate it. I am going to finish it proper later, because that will be really good, but we're going to speed up some process here so that you can see. See, originally I was going to have this all strung, but then I knocked over my tray. I was like, well, okay, now it's going to be a lesson on how I design. Because, hello, drop the tray. Or not really drop the tray. It was, I moved the mat. And you know how, like, instead of lifting the tray, I moved the mat and then they rolled. And I didn't think I moved it that much. I was just, like, peeking under like that and thought that was not a big deal. But, you know, I was clumsy and did more than that. Whatever. It's all good. Here you go. So I'm going to start with my knot. So I usually have all the string beady stuff on the left side, because I'm right-handed. It's the left side, and I'm going to make the knot on the right. I'm going to use my tool. Now I'm going to show you both the awl and the tweezer. And I am going to make my first knot away. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing on this one. If I was doing it through the guru bead, like this kind of guru bead, I wouldn't necessarily need to leave space, but because I do want to end up making a knot right here, I'm going to leave a little bit of space. Yes, I have this, but I want to just err on caution. So I'm going to make a knot kind of just, I don't know, an inch above. And that's just going to be so that things don't fly off as I go. That's all. That's all this knot really. So if I did the guru bead, that on that side. I probably with the guru, I might even just use a bead stopper on the guru bead and then do one right after the guru bead. I will point out, when you get to your guru, I forgot to mention that you do want to pay attention. They have a little bit, if you're using a like this kind of guru bead or even a bail, they tend to have a little bit larger hole, and so they went over the knot. So I added a little daisy spacer on either side of it because the daisy spacer had a smaller hole.
Okay.
So using a little spacer on either side of that guru. So if I did, if I was using it for my butterfly one, I would just put the guru bead and then a daisy spacer, guru bead, daisy spacer, and then do this knot here, and then start the others, and then come around. Not have a knot on this side, so that way I can get the cord through and knot it if I'm connecting at the guru. I hope that makes sense because but again, I am going to do that with my celestial set, and I will take pictures of those steps so that you can see it and post that. So if you're not understanding, sometimes that visual picture does help, and so I'm going to do that. Hopefully I made sense though. Oh, yes. Jaspers make me think of the mountains too. Mountains and trees, I love and then that's the nice thing about a lot of jaspers. They either look like they're from the earth of the land of mountains and trees, or they have little sceneries like that. And a lot of times they are in the browns and the greens of the mountains and trees. Mountains are my thing too. I love mountains. Now that I started with that bead, I am going to bring, or that knot, I'm going to bring one bead down and kind of push at it just to make sure it's nice and tight, because sometimes when I go to do it this way, it doesn't always pull as tight. So by using this to kind of push down, it does that. Now I'm going to take this as one whole unit and make my knot. Now I do an overhand knot, and you can do your overhand knot any way that you but my way to make it easier when I have like a big old pile is to kind of wrap it around my 4 fingers like that, get my thumb in there like that, and then I drop it inside. Then I take my awl, I put my awl inside my loop of my knot. I don't care that it's far away, and I don't use the tip. I go further down in because I want to make sure that it doesn't fly off. When I get up to the tip, it tapers too much that when I go to move it down, sometimes it will flip off too soon. So I like to have it further down on the base of that and then push real close. Now this is where one thing that I do that is different is I try not to worry so much about, I get it close, I pull at it while it's still inside really down at the base. If I do that way up here, I can flip it off again and it's not as close, so I try to do it way down at the base of the awl. Get it really nice and tight and close. Sometimes with the thicker cord, by the way, I'm using a size 6. I do a lot of size 6 with the stones and the glass. I will also go up to a size 8 sometimes with them. They depend on the size holes. Pearls, I sometimes go to a 4 or like a 4 or a 5. So it really kind of, beads have different size holes, so you have to have different kinds of cords sometimes. But around a 6 is good for most things, so that's why I use it. A 7 and an 8 are great too. But I don't work with the thicker ones. Like if you did something with a heavier cord, like the 10 or the 12, the ridges in the cord of the twist sometimes catch on itself. So you want to really make sure that it's nice and snug up there, and it didn't get caught. Like the ridges didn't get caught on the twist of the knot. And it's okay if I pull it and see how this bead is going forward. I don't care. Don't push it down, because if you push it down, you're basically pulling it away, and it's going to be further away from you. Your knot's going to be further than the bead. So if I push it, and it's okay that it goes upwards, but then I'm going to lay it on the mat. Try not to touch anything while, or maybe hold down this over here, but not pull it. So I'm just going to put my finger down so that I can slide this out without moving things. And if you look, and of course I banged it, but that's okay. See how this knot is super open? That is a key point for me. I like to have it open like that because the next step is what's going to tighten it. But when it is open like that, I can, as I'm tightening it, I can make sure I'm pushing it towards the bead. If I try to make that smaller or tighter now, like if I was pulling on it as I was pulling off of the awl, making the knot smaller and smaller till it gets to the tip, sometimes it will make it tighten too far from the bead. Oh my gosh, yes, Karen, you're right. You're right. You know, Cheryl, we got to make sure you are able to look and see what Jamie has, because, oh, she has some wonderful stuff. She is based out of Hawaii, and that's part of the reason why she has so many Hawaiian pieces. And then I'm going to take this new bead, and I'm just kind of pushing it down. I'm not lifting up the piece. I'm not touching it really, other than I'm pushing this bead. I'm holding tight to this cord, and then pushing the bead towards the other. And if you look, that just tightens that knot really nice and neat. Oh, that would be a great little combo, like shell and pineapple.
That's picturing pineapple quartz.
Mm-hmm. Oh, pineapple quartz. I believe so, Cheryl. I think that's where she is. Of course, I don't know what part of Hawaii you're going to, and there's a lot of different parts of Hawaii. Maybe you might have to just order online if you're not actually getting to go right where she's at. So I'm going to hold on to this loose bead that I just brought, and now I'm going to knot again. So again, let's go a little further back, wrap around my front. Okay, this ring's going to catch on things, so let's put the ring away. Go around my forefingers and my thumb, and I drop it down the hole. Got my loop. I let it be kind of big. I don't care if it's far away. I just put my awl in, down, making sure it's like close to the base and just really nice and tight. Make sure it's close to the bead as possible at this point, and again, make sure the twist is not catching on itself because of the cord. Pull it nice and tight, lay it down, slide out, let it be nice and loose. You see how big that opening is? That's okay, because this next bead, I'm just like, you know, scooting it around with my finger. I'm not even like putting any pressure really. And I'm just going to hold on to this cord and push that up against it. Once I push it up against it, I can then pick up this bead and pull the cord if I want to make sure it's really super tight, and I can kind of wiggle and pull. Oh, that'd be really cool if you were able to go there, since that is where your grandparents were. But yeah, if you're going to the Big Island, you won't be able to visit. All right, now on to the next. So I'm always holding on to that loose one. Wrap. I'm only going to do a few more knots, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to close it, and we're going to pretend that I did this whole thing so that I could show you how I'm going to connect here, and then I'm going to show you how to connect at the end of the original piece, or the other piece that I have, if you want to do the connect, like a continuous necklace version. Put my all through. I'm going to also show the, while I'm doing the knotting part, just a few more knots, I'm going to also show the tweezers. And then let that be nice and loose. And push that up. And it is a-okay if you want to, when you're doing this, you can do one bead, you know, at a time if you're doing it in that way. But this is what I feel like I can get in a better rhythm, is if I string all of them or most of them and do them in sections. If I don't do all of them, is that I can then push the bead up, and then I don't have to worry about it. Sometimes when I don't have these and I try to get that knot close while I'm adding the bead, I'm accidentally pulling it, so that open loop that I had isn't as open as I want, and then I can't get it as close. So that's something you have to think about. So I'm going to hold on to that bead, go around my thumb and my forefingers, and then drop it down the hole. Hope that makes sense. Put my awl inside the loop and pull it down. If you want more details about knotting, like I said, we have the knotting with glass pearls video, and we also have the treasures of the sea. It is done in 2 videos. The first video is how to set up and start knotting it, and then the other video is how to close it. So we did it in 2 parts, and I didn't want to do this one in 2 parts. I kind of wanted to do it in one. That's why we're kind of doing a lot of cheaty or movie magic, TV magic, cooking show magic. Oh, look, it's already baked. I know I said it was supposed to bake for 2 hours, and we were only a 30-minute. But it's amazing how well it comes out. I pulled my awl out, let it be big, push that little bead down, just kind of hold on to this cord and just push, and it just goes nice and tight. And it's so nice to see that little bit of blue just peek in between. If I used to, these have a large enough hole that I think I probably could have done the 8 or even maybe a 10. And if I did that, the knots would be bigger. So if you really want the knots to show more, try to use a larger, one of the larger cords. But you do have to remember how you're going to connect it. And if you wanted to connect it like my fire agate one that I'm going to do, you're going to need those beads that have larger holes that you can go through twice. Or on this one, you don't have to really worry about it on the guru if you're connecting through a guru bead like that, because that's a pretty large hole. And with these actually have pretty decent sized holes, so it might have been able to accommodate. I'm going to go down twice through these, but you don't always need to. No, you do need to on a bead like this. If you're using this, you don't have to worry about it, is what my brain's trying to say, but it didn't come out that way. All right, so with the next one, I'm going to show how I do the tweezer with the tweezers instead of the awl. I like the tweezers for 2 reasons. So one of the reasons is that if I'm doing a double knot puts or you could do a knot on top of a knot, which is kind of hard sometimes to get a knot on top of knot. So the tweezers allowed you to hold on to that original knot. That's one way to do a double knot. The other way to do a double knot is if I wanted to, if I put the beads through twice, And that gives you this extra twist in the cord that gets kind of tingly. So when you are doing an awl, it's sometimes hard to get really close to the beads. So that's one of the places where it is extra nice to use. You don't have to do a double knot to use the tweezers. You can use this with just a regular knot, but I'm just happening to show you a double knot. So if you notice, this has extra twist instead of just the pretzel look. There's an extra twist up there. And then so I'm gonna just go over, take this, make the loop really big, bring it over the beads, take your tweezers and grab that cord that's coming out of the beads and grab right after the bead. And if you grab that cord right after the bead, this is where the knot should land. So then I pull really tight. Now this extra twist sometimes will make it catch. See how it's not pulling as tight, so sometimes you have to push it down, or you have to wiggle, 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 or you got to push, push, push and say get in there and get it nice as tight as you can around your tool. When I let go, and I'm gonna try to, one thing that I notice, sometimes people's pieces get a little, the knots get a little loose, and it's either that these beads end up pulling from that other side, it gets too heavy, or they kind of press down on this side and so it pulls the knot away, or they're trying to make it too tight right now. And in the same concept as before, it's better to kind of have a loose knot. It's not totally tightened, because then you can use your bead as a pusher, and I can push that boop, right in there, and yeah, it gets it much tighter. I sometimes will hold that bead and kind of, with these double knots, kind of wiggle, 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 kind of pull it. But be careful, because if you do that with like some pearls and crystals, they're sharp, so you could like overdo that and make it break. There's like a fine line there of like how much you can do, but that's usually what I do. And it does make a larger knot, so that's kind of nice. If you, sometimes you'll get a couple beads that have larger holes than you realize on that same strand. Or you might want to see that knot a little bit better, so you make it, the double knot makes a bigger knot, so you'll see it better. I'm going to show you that one, but I'm going to like leave it, and I'm okay with an extra large knot on that. I'm going to go now, take this around, drop down. I'm only going to go through once. This is a regular knot to do the tweezer again. So I'm going to make sure my beads are all up, bring the knot over the beads, grab hold of the cord coming out of the bead right there, pull nice and tight, but not, it's still kind of loose. It's not going to be as loose, I'm going to admit, it's not as loose as the awl, and that's okay. But the one thing about the tweezers, those tips are so fine that you can hold it right outside of that bead in place, whereas the awl, you can't always make sure, you know, it sometimes when you slip it out, it kind of moves it a little bit. So having it really open like it is with the awl allows you to kind of use that bead to kind of push the knot closer. If it's looser, if it's tighter, it's harder to push it close. There's not enough cord to push the knot. But with the tweezers, you can be a little bit more precise. So that's another reason why I like it. But you have to find what works best for you. And then I use that bead to push it down, push it down. So, would you like me to show the tweezers one more time? Or should we get to how we're connecting? What do you think? Would you like me to show how to do the tweezers or even the awl one more time before I show how I'm going to connect this? again, we're going to use some like TV magic and pretend that it's done. So I'm not fully done. We're going to pretend that I knotted all of these. All right, looks like we're pretty good. No answers on that. You can hit the like, or you can hit a comment. All right, so we're going to go, and so this is going to be the first one that I'm going to show to connect. I'm going to connect through the Guru bead for this one. And then I'm going to just pretend that that whole thing is done. And then I'm going to show you how to do the how to connect, do the continuous connection. Don't worry, Karen. I am for sure going to fully finish this afterwards. And I will take pictures to show, and I'll probably even wear it in a future live so you can see it all the way. It will take me too long to do all the knotting in order to finish it today in the live. Although I was jokingly telling Sandra that I might take a day someday in the future and just randomly hop on, like bead all day, do like a weird marathon, and then just like every once in a while pop on to show the progress. Because I have these projects I want to do, but I need to like really, I need to have some time to really work on them because they're longer projects that I want to do. And I think that'll help me with accountability if I say, okay, I'm going to pop on every couple hours of work. But don't worry, it's going to be finished because I love this. I think it's going to be so beautiful. I have to have it done. So it's not going to just like end here. It will be finished so it could be life, have a life. Okay, so being said, we're going to put one more knot here because you do want to end with a knot. So I'm going to pretend that is my last knot. Well, it is my last knot for right now. So I ended with a knot, so it's all the way done. My 108 bead, we're pretending, and the knot. And now I'm going to connect it through the Guru bead. So this is one way to connect through the Guru bead. Let's see. If it was this, you'd be coming, the tail would be coming here, and then this would be coming to here, and then you would tie those with a square knot or a couple square knots or a surgeon's knot, and then add a little glue and pop that knot inside that Guru bead, and it will work. I've done it. It is a way to do it. It is a fabulous way to do it, and I'm all for it. And again, you can also do, we did do this method with our Guru bead on this one with our soft flex, and the crimp is, I don't think I could pop the crimp, but the crimp is inside there, basically. I crimped it here. There is a little bit of space, and that's the one slight difference on this. When you go to crimp it, it does leave a space, but what's nice, it makes it, it only shows the space if I like pull the beads away, then you can see the space, but because of that space, it gives it a fabulous drape with the soft flex. So that's really a nice perk. This is on medium soft flex even, I think. Yeah, it's medium. Who are you kidding, Joyce? You know what you're talking about? No. Medium, because it was heavier. I wanted to make sure it was on the medium. And so then it just like has a nice drape with that. Whereas with this, you do want to tie it knot, and it's going to go, what I would do is tie the knot together before you, the two ends together. We're going to just see if I can, no, there's no way. Is there a way? Is there a way? I don't know. Is there a way? So if I was doing, yeah, there is a way. Come on, Joyce. You could do it. Okay. So then I would tie these two ends together in a knot. I'm going to pretend that it's a knot because I don't want to do this one actually. So you tie your knot, add a little dab of glue, and before the glue dries and before you cut, take your needle and bring your needle through the guru bead, because that's going to give you the leverage. By doing that, that's what's going to give you the leverage to make sure that knot hops into, oh gosh, I hope that was in there enough, to hop into that guru bead. By, you know, then you can cut your tail and your working cord. That is what you'll do. When I do this with my Celestial Kit collection, I will take pictures of that so that I can post that, and I will put that as a post, but I'll also put it in the album so you can find it later too. Hey, that sounds like a great day, Cheryl. You need a cat beading day for sure. I should do it. Well, I could also try to plan that on like maybe I'm not ready for it until a holiday. Like not an actual holiday day, but like a 3-day weekend or the summer or the spring. But I think you're going out in the spring, so I'll wait. It'd be kind of fun to pop on and go, oh, this is how far I went. Okay, so for doing this one though, we want to know what to do for this one. And so to do this one, well, too close there. Got myself out of, I'm going to have my knot, this one, and so I started with a knot, ended with a knot. I have these beads. I'm going to take my needle and go down through my rows. So now I have these two, and I'm going to pull those up so that both of those knots are kind of coming right out of that rose. You could put, could have put something else there if you wanted to, or you can even tie them together, but I really just want the two knots. I'm going to move my bead stopper down a little bit, so I'm going to allow the butterfly to escape for a moment, because I am going to tie these two together in an overhand knot. I could probably just do a square knot and it'd probably work out just fine. But sometimes when I do the square knot version of doing this, it goes into the bead too much. So I'm actually going to just tie overhand knot and hopefully do this without having to lose the butterfly. Oh, I'm going to go from this direction. I think I'm going to pop the butterfly and bead stopper through easier. I'm actually going to make a double knot because I want to make sure it's nice and hefty. So I'm going to try to get the butterfly and bead stopper through. I wish I had one of my mini bead stoppers. I think that would have been better than the big one. Man, I had some good sleep last night. I've had some good sleep the last couple nights, but my eye has been twitching for a week now. It's really annoying. don't like a twitchy eye. Starting to do it really bad right now. Makes it hard to concentrate. Whoosh. Okay, so I'm making a double knot with this. Let's get that cord out of the way. I want to make sure. So you have to pay attention before you get it all nice and tight. See how that moved away? So I need to make sure that the knot does not close. So right now I'm going to put my awl in there just in case if I accidentally pull it wrong. And then I'm going to get whoosh, and scoot it up. You see how I just scooted up? I just pulled onto the cords coming so that they can scoot up right up against there. Now I'm going to switch over to my tweezers because I think the tweezers will work better. And I'm going to just make, I think I got to back up a little bit. Oh, I never heard of that. I didn't realize sinus pressure makes your eyes twitch. That's another reason. Okay, well that makes sense. So never, okay. Who knew? Who? Thank you. Learn something new every day. I love it. Okay, so I have my double knot. You don't have to do a double knot. You could just do a single knot. I just want a double knot because I wanted to do something a little heftier between the two. Oop, I just noticed that got loosened again. So let's see if I can get that closer. And then I need to, there we go. So that's close. Then I have my knot and I go over the bead. Yeah, I was really happy. I think I have some more. I'm going to grab hold of both of those cords right after the rows and see how you could try this with the awl and it could easily work, but I just find I'm more successful with the tweezers, so that's why I'm using the tweezers. I'm right under, make sure those guys are nice and tight. Those look really good, so I'm happy. And then I'm going to pull these one at a time. One at a time, one at a time. When it gets caught like that, sometimes what I'll do is, there we go. Sometimes I will open up my pliers a little bit, like I keep them in place, but I kind of pull them apart because it helps wiggle the cord a little bit. And then I close it down again and I push it up, pull on the cords one at a time. One at a time, one at a time. Just keep pulling until you don't feel that cord move anymore. Okay, I'm not feeling the cord move anymore, so I know I'm good. So I'm going to take my tweezers out. I'm going to be very gentle and not lift up anything because that knot's not totally tight yet. Yours is not going to be as tangly, and when I do this properly, it's not going to be as tangly because I'm going to be using more of the cord. Right now, because I didn't use as much of the cord, it's super long, so it makes it more tangly in this process, but yours should be fine. And now I'm going to take my needle and go down through the butterfly. And then I'm going to use my butterfly. I'm going to pull one at a time, make sure that they're pulling up nice and tight. Nice and tight, nice and tight, nice and tight. And now I have like that chunkier knot in between which I think gives it a nice buffer between the two beads. I could have put like a bead there, but I kind of like the knot that way. And just kind of one cord at a time pull in so it's nice and tight, and that's good. Now I'm going to do another, I'm going to take my bead stopper off. And I'm going to tie a knot at the bottom of this. Now I got to decide how I'm going to undo this. I'm either going to have to be tedious and try to undo all my knots, or we just cut it and start again, which might be the easier way to go. But that's okay. I could do either one. I got more cord. Keep that loose. I hate when I slightly move or I hit the cord on my phone and it makes the phone move, and then it's like, oh, I'm off camera. And then I'm going to just pull one at a time and push down to get that nice and tight. This time I don't have a bead to help push down. One cool way to do it is, because tweezers are only pointed or touch at the tips, there's this gap right here. I can actually get it through the gap and just use that as a pusher. But with the butterfly wings, I got to make sure I get in there in the right direction there. There we go. And now I got that knot. Now I'm ready to attach my my tassel. And so I could do one of two ways to do my tassels. A lot of times tassels are in particular malas, you actually use these threads to tie directly the threads of your tassel. So, excuse me, I could make my tassel, I could like just, fold it in half like that and then tie it around and then tie a little thing around, and I could do that. That would be a really great way. Because I kind of want to use that Marrakesh, I can get, I could get one of those side crimp covers and go over, make a second knot and go over that, and then use a jump ring to attach it. Or what I'm going to just do, and it may not look the prettiest because it's not, but it kind of is like a combination of the two. I'm going to use this, but I think I'm going to just, my plan is just to tie directly And if your knot looks really bad, all you have to do is stick a crimp cover over it. But I'm going to just tie this Marrakesh crimp. You can make your tassel first. You could wait until you have your tassel. And just make a few a few square knots on here. And then I'm going to cut, you could add a little glue and cut right at the knot if you want, but I'm going to actually use the thread to do kind of like a fuzzy tassel-y look. I'm just going to cut off, maybe leave about 1/4 of an inch on either side, and then split the silk, because when you take these and undo the edges of the twist, and just undo that, and see how it kind of like pulls those fibers together, and it's like it's a little tassel itself. So you're adding to that whole meaningful tassel of all the strings connection. And I think that, so that's what I'm going to plant. So that little bit is just going to be hanging, I'll make it smaller, so it's going to be like hanging right there. So I'll take a picture of that when that is finished. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. Because I mean, sometimes I will use a bead and the bead is easier, but I will also use my pliers. Occasionally, though, tweezers. The tweezers, depending on your brand, I love this one that we have because when you squeeze it, you don't deform the tips very much, because sometimes when you do that method where you just pinch the two ends and slide it down, if you do that a lot, sometimes that will kind of bend your tips outwards. So that's why I got in the habit of mostly doing the bead, and whenever I can't do a bead, I use my tweezers. It's a great method of doing it inside your clamshells when you're using clamshells, because your tweezers can get in there a little easier than a bead. So you can kind of use that. But yeah. Awesome. I am excited. If you're doing... Oh, great. It's sometimes you got to be late and then watch the replay. Most of this is just is more for inspiration and for like little how-tos. It's not complete. I have one more thing to show, but so that'll be of another way to connect. I can't wait to see what you do, Karen. Please share. Anybody that makes something with these techniques or got excited because you're like, oh, that's another way of doing it, and decide to kind of use it, I would love, share with us. Share on our Facebook page or tag us in your post, or go onto our Just Beaded Happy Beaders group. Speaking of... not a problem. I have one more spot to show. And yes, so the replay will be available to watch as soon as this is over. And then shortly, in a few hours, it'll be moved over to our YouTube. I realized I forgot to do that last weekend. So I got to still move last weekend's over. So sorry. I just realized that. Because some people find that on the YouTube, you actually can pause and rewind a little easier. Fast forward, pause and rewind easier than on the Facebook. Kind of depends on your device that you're watching on too. So that's that part. As far as the tassel, if you want to know how to do the tassel make the tassel with the silk ribbon, that is detailed on our Lotus Chakra Mala necklace. And again, that the JPEGs are on our post in the event page on our Facebook page and our Just Beaded Happy Beaders group, and as PDF on our awesome. That's another thing. That's a great thing to do, is to save it as soon as as you're doing it, so that you can find it easier. Because that's the other thing. People, I've noticed, sometimes it's hard to find again. So if you saved it, good tip. If you saved it in your file, in your videos, then you'll be able to find it easier later too. So easy thing about you do have to have a needle and thread when you make your tassel. I'm going to slip this one. Oh, am I going to slip this one out? Oh, maybe I should have kept tape rolls. I didn't think I finished clamping this down so that I could show you, because sometimes I will. Anyway, it's a super easy process. You take the whole silk cord, you fold it in half, fold it in half again. You take a needle and thread. Okay, I don't sew the side with the little ends because I actually like that as part of the tassel. So I personally sew all of these together. Sew it, right? And then you take, if you want to be a gluer, you can be a gluer and add some glue on there, and then stuff it in here. But one nice thing is these are crimpable ends, and so I will just take my pliers and squeeze it down. You want to make sure that you're not over squeezing this side, so if you have nylon tip pliers, use those, or cover this with a piece. I mean, they recommend like suede or things like that, but I use my mat. I just put my mat over it and then squeeze it down with my pliers, and that will hold onto it. But you can add a little glue if you want to add a little glue. All right, to do a continuous end, let's do that with this one. But before I do that, let me double check my count. I think I have to add a few beads, and so don't mind me. Yep. Okay, and I found those beads. I was like, why is that count off wrong? And it's because my beads slid off and got into my picture jasper pile, not my fire agate pile. All right, so I gotta make a couple knots here before I can do it, because I gotta catch up those beads that I was missing. So I'll show the knots again real quick with this longer. I only have 6 beads to knot, so it's not a big deal, right? Knot. I just want to make sure I don't lose those again. Sometimes what I'll do, you take the, so that the beads don't slide off while I do it, and I made the mistake of taking it off, so that was my fault. I will wrap my needle end on my card so that things don't slide off while I'm doing the knotting. So, but I didn't do that because I was trying to be fast. No, I wasn't trying to be fast, actually. I was being really calm with this one, because this is not supposed to be fast. This is supposed to be gentle beading, mindful beading, and I wasn't going fast. I just wasn't aware of my end is what my problem was. Boop. It always amazed me what you could do with some string and some beads. How you can take string and beads, and depending on the type of string and the type of beads, it can look totally different. You can even use very similar techniques, and then it looks totally different. It's pretty amazing. All right, almost done with this, and then I'm going to show you how this one is going to connect with the continuous connection. Sometimes I pick it up instead of dropping it down. Gotta find your flow, find the way you do it. Okay, this one, because I have no more beads, I can always add a bead on, like one of my spare beads, and use it as a pusher, Or, like we talked about before, we can use our tweezers and just down. All right. Now I took it off my cord. I have, if you caught it earlier, we started for this one. We had to start our knots, but we have 4 that are not knotted in between, and we have quite a bit of space there. That's what, I don't know, 3 inches or so. And then we have all the rest of them are beaded down. This one I'm connecting, instead of through the guru bead, I'm connecting on the back. What this is allowing it to do is give us like 3 little knots to help connect it. And it goes this way. Because sometimes I feel like we're so used to kind of designing where there's a middle and then a top, and you start beading from the top and around, like our minds do that easier. That's another reason sometimes it's hard to get our minds to think to bead from here around. So that's another benefit of doing it this way. I'm coming over, so this is the loose bead side and this is the needle side. I ended with a knot. There is a knot here. I'm going to kind of push them down a little bit. The first thing I'm going to do is take my needle and cross it through this first one. And I say cross because this one's coming out that way, and then but really in a way we're going in the same direction, like we're just going through that bead again. I'm going to get my needle through. I'm going to pull. So I pulled this so that the bead's all the way down next to the knot on this side. And now I'm going to take this tail and I'm going to pull that. But we don't want it super tight, because if we do it super tight, we won't be able to put our knots in. So we want to kind of visualize the space that the knots needs to, because we're going to add 1, 2, 3 knots. And we need to make sure that they are about that space in between. So you can kind of move it a teeny bit. I'd rather err on a little bit more than a little bit less. It's harder to do with a little bit less. I know it's going to be fun to do it on yours, huh, Sandra? Okay, so I'm coming out of here. This is like doing a half hitch knot if you've done any bead weaving. If you haven't, that's okay. You don't need to. You are going to come around, take the needle, and I'm going upwards with the cord. This is the tail end. From the other side, this is the end with the needle. I'm going to go under that space between the 2 beads where the cord is coming out of. I'm going to pull it until there's like a little bit of a loop. And then I'm going to wrap it around the loop and come from the back side of the loop. So see how it is a half hitch, but sometimes when we do half hitches, we don't make sure we make that full round, and you really need to make that full round and come around the back. And now you can kind of see how that looks like a regular knot, right? You can just pull. Sometimes just pulling works just fine. Sometimes an awl works better, and then a tweezers even better. I just had those. Where did they go? I ate my tools. We just had those. I was just using them. Oh, there's my tweezers. Oh, there's my, oh my goodness. So if I was doing my awl, I could put my awl in there like that and then pull it around. Or if I am using my tweezers, you grab, now make sure you are grabbing both the cord that's going between the two beads and the cord that's coming out of this bead. So it's like two cords there. And you want to make sure you're coming right out of there of the bead. Pull, you want to make sure there's still gaps over here, not too tight. Pull that nice and tight around the tweezers, and then use the tweezers to push down. If you're using the awl, don't worry. All you have to do is take, I like to push it down with the tweezers when I'm doing the tweezer method, but if I'm doing the awl method, I just then go into this and take my needle into this next bead of the 4 loose beads. And then you can kind of pull it and it tightens it around. So these knots are going to look a little bit bigger than the other knots, but most of the time, if even on a continuous strand, it's not enough to really see. So if your necklace moves around, it will be fine. But on this, you have the Guru and Tassel to keep it front and forward, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 more just like this. We are going to have our cord coming out. The needle is going to go in between the next 2 beads. And see how this cord is kind of going up and to the right. My needle is going to the left. It likes to move, but, and we're going to pull it until you have a little circle. Try to get this tail from going anywhere else. So I got my cord going around underneath. Now take this needle, and go from, so I'm kind of going from underneath, slightly underneath the knot, from right to left. And I'm going to hold on to that loop so I don't accidentally yank it in the wrong direction when I'm pulling. If while doing this you accidentally grab your tool with the cord, know that that's normal. I almost knotted the tweezers into my piece. That would have been a little ouchy when I wore them, but we'll just use them to knot. We're going to hold on to here, boop, right there. Pull and make it tight. Make sure you don't get, you want to go between the correct 2. Pull nice and tight. Wiggle it if you need to, because the little ridges in this cord sometimes get caught. So wiggle nice and tight. Pull it out. With the tweezers you can push down. With the if you're using an awl to do it, I'll do an awl on the next one so that you can see that again, because I never really showed that one all the way. You can put this needle, now this one's going to get, they're getting harder and harder to get between these because we are using up space for those knots, but if you planned it, it should, if you got the right spacing, it should work out. And pull that There we go. Last knot. Go under between the beads. Got that little loop, right? Got our little loop there. Take our needle and go around that knot. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it, and I'm glad that you're finding this helpful and informative. That's what I love. This is why I do it. All right, put my awl inside that knot this time because I'm going to use the awl instead of the tweezers, so you can see the process. Get it nice and tight around. It's going to be, you could then, since it's not a true, the next process is not a true bead to push down, because you're just going to go through the bead. Sometimes what I'll do is also just lay the awl on top of the knot like that, and then pull, and it gets it a little tighter. See, it got a little tighter, so then I don't have to worry about it being too big in this step. But you don't have to. It just makes it, I don't know, it makes my brain happier, so I do it that way. But I've also done it the other way, not worried about it either. Kind of depends on my day. Then go through this with the needle. And then hold on to that bead and pull, and see how that just pulls that up. Now, if you want to, you can add a teeny bit of glue. Make sure you use a flexible glue like GS Hypo Cement or E6000 or Bond 527. Not sure what those, if you're not sure if you're going to remember that, do know, oh, well, okay, I lied. This one I only have GS Hypo Cement listed. Most of the time I list all three. I believe it is on my... See? I did it here because if you wanted to put some glue on the tassel, you're going to use the so E6000 Bond 9... Nope. I just realized that's a boo-boo. It's not 925, it's 527. Oh. I have an assistant. There you go. So change that to 527. This is the Lotus Chakramala. And then, or if you want to be brave like me, you can just get in there and cut those off and wear it. Now I haven't attached my, this one, I haven't attached my tassel yet, so I still need a tassel, but as you can see, it is now all connected as one. I'm going to connect this tassel with this bead, this man-made fire agate, with a little link. I might use soft flex and crimp it on both sides, or I might use a wire and do wrap loops. I gotta see what fits through this hole. I thought I had a big hole, but then I was trying to put 20 gauge in there and it didn't really work very well. So we'll see. I'll take pictures of what I do so you know. But that is how that one's gonna end. Now I am ready. Let's see. What else? Oh, these are the, as you can see, those are the other Treasures of the Sea colorways that I have that are quite gorgeous. One's a little bit more like corally pink and one's a little more pinker. And then this one is like a green turquoise, which is quite lovely. We are going to be putting up not necessarily kits for this, but pieces. We pulled out the box and we do have some pieces, but not like all the pieces to do all the colorways. So what we're going to do is get some of our silk cord up, our Marrakesh crimp ends, and our guru beads, and our open lotus, and then some of our chakra pieces that we have left. We have a few of those left. So we'll be putting that on our Etsy. So let's put some little, maybe. Oh, something's coming in. Move, move. Nope. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Can I get? See, I'm not as tech savvy. I could do this sometimes, but yeah. Okay. There's our Etsy link if you're interested in some of these things, and those other beads, the picture jasper, the fire opal agate, possibly the rose. I'll see if I have any of the butterfly. It might pop up there this weekend also. If you want to, you can always find the replay for this short as soon as this is over. You can also find it. Oh, nope, that's not going to do it. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's flip around again. Maybe I could do this better. Oh, no, not that one. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Don't you love all the hearts on our mantle that we have now? That's thanks to Sandra. She made that awesome garland in the back with all those hearts. I love it. You kind of pop over here again. Oh. And then, let's see. If you want to catch our YouTube channel for that, you can find it on that link right there. And if you want to be part of our Just Beat It Happy Beaters group, which I think I've seen almost everybody on here right today is part of it. But if you're not, just go ahead and ask to join and be part, and then you can post what you make with this. I hope to see a lot of things that you... Oh, let's get you in there. Let's get you in there. I got my bestie here with me today, and I'm so... Why are we crooked? This is how good I am. Let's pause it in the middle of a sentence. I don't know. Anyway, I had a fun time. I hope you did too. I hope you found some inspiration. I cannot wait to share my finished pieces with you. Sandra and I are planning on beading.
I already have a ton of questions.
And then if she has questions, I'll answer. She has questions, and I'm sure you do too. So then we'll be able to answer them, maybe with some quick little picture tutorials. Thank you, Rosalinda. Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you, Karen. I'm so glad to have you here, part of this today. A wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Keep beading, and hopefully...
Oh, I don't think they went for it. They're hearts. We're on dark.
Keep throwing them and they go behind the camera. I love it. Oh, I'm so glad you learned a lot. Enjoy your weekend. Share the love with everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful time. And we'll see you next week. I don't know what's going on next week. Sandra's going to help me decide. Yeah. See you then. Bye.